There are a lot of ways to see Australia. By plane, by car, by staring at Google Earth for a bit too long. But have you ever tried doing it on a tiny silver train that occasionally stops for kangaroos, snakes, and a surprise parade of pigs? Because I have. This is the Savannahlander, a 1960s rail motor that rattles through the Outback like it's on a mission to collect the world's weirdest wildlife facts and emotionally ruin you with how charming it is. Across the next 4 days, my sister and I are going to see a lot. Ancient caves and a bat so small I might legally adopt it. We're going to sleep in pub motels, ride up the front with the driver, and learn more about termite queens than I ever expected. Spoiler, she's overworked and thriving. So buckle in, or don't, because actually there's not seatbelts on here, but come along for one of the quirkiest rail journeys Australia has to offer. This is the Savannahlander. And somehow, this is my life now. If you love this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you feel like subscribing, that would also be really lovely. I mean, no pressure, but also immense pressure. I make these videos with love, train facts and way too many snacks. And so your support helps me justify filming wild pigs and turtle farts professionally. Okay, thank you, bye.
Good morning from Cairns, Australia. You would think that up here, we'd probably be going to the Great Barrier Reef. But no, we're hopping on another train. Yep.
You're very thrilled about being on another train? Yes-ish, because it's going to be shorter. Kids at the back.
No, miss behaviour.
We are your drivers for the week, so I hope you like us. We've got lots of stuff to tell you, but we'll do most of it once we get on the train and then we get moving.
Good morning, my friends. Guess what? This here behind me is the Savannahlander train, and can we just take a moment to acknowledge how cute this thing is? This is actually reminding me of the Inlandsbanan train that Ludwig and I went on back in Sweden, isn't it? Like the world's cutest train. This might actually give that one a run for its money, I reckon. But it's so cool. Oh, there's some noisy birds over here. But yeah, this is it behind us. How cute is it? Let's just show you quickly the very front of the train. Here it is. This is so awesome. This is so awesome. This is something my dad would absolutely love. But yeah, this is what we're going to be traveling around on for the next 4 days. Let's go. This is so cool. So the driver of this train ride, he was watching my YouTube videos this morning. What? I don't know how he found that, but he says, I see that you're quite obsessed with the train rides and quite strange for a woman of your age. And I said, yes, well, I don't know much about the train machinery itself, but I like the views from a train. So Renee, we have sat our bums down on the seat. How are you feeling on this train so far?
It's really cute.
It is very cute. And are you excited for the next 4 days?
Yes.
We saw all sorts of big birds just strutting around like they owned the place. Mountain ranges in the distance and this wild mix of browny, greeny, orangey red out the window that just made the whole thing feel like a moving postcard. Inside the train, I was obsessed with the colours. The rusty maroon red of the walls and the navy blue seats and those deep red curtains. It was such a vibe. I think I took like 45 videos before we even hit our first stop. It already felt like it was going to be a next level trip. Oh, and the coolest part, you can actually sit right up the front of the train, like right next to the driver. Will and Ma took turns driving and we were all allowed to rotate up the front in the seat next to them to watch the tracks just stretch on out in front of us. Very, very awesome.
You see the steel? Well, you probably can't see the steel because you're not in front of the train. Will you, idiot? Probably not. We can see the steel.
Yes.
The steel in this bridge originally spanned over the Brisbane River.
This is really, really awesome. You can come around to the back of the train and sit here at the back. It's pretty cool.
This is our first stop on the Savannahlander, and we're in a town called Dimboola. It looks like a very cute little place, and we are stopping here for an early lunch. And apparently this place is usually open to the public, but today, my friends, it is closed just for us Savannahlander folk. Ma just said that's how high profile us here are in the town of Dambulla. How do you feel about having a nice early lunch? It's only about 11 a.m, so it's definitely an early lunch. Are you feeling quite are you hungry?
Yes, my stomach is rumbling.
Well, there we go. Let's see what Dambulla has to offer.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm someone who lives for seeing new places. My bucket list is basically a novel, but every now and then I crave a different kind of adventure. Not something flashy or high speed, but something slow, human, unexpected. That's what drew me to the Savannahlander, a weird little train in the middle of nowhere that felt like it could shake things up in all the right ways.
Nice. Thank you. I got a special sandwich because I put down pescatarian on my list. It must be a tuna sandwich. How cute is that? Renee got a little ham sandwiches, corned beef.
I think that's when it hit me. We were out here. Like, this wasn't just a quirky little train ride. This was the start of something properly unusual. No idea what each day would bring, no real phone signal, and no backup plan. And I loved it. There's something about stepping into a journey like that when you can't quite predict what's next that makes everything feel more alive.
Well, Dambulla, you were fantastic. We spent 45 minutes here. We successfully got a latte and a cappuccino. Cheers. I was waiting for you to cheers for so long then. And now we're off to the next spot.
I could already tell that Will and Ma were going to have us in stitches over the next few days. Their energy was just infectious. Cheeky, passionate, and so genuinely excited to share this journey with us. Right from the get-go, they were making this trip feel extra special. As we rumbled along, we learned that today we'd be traveling around 2,000 feet above sea level and crossing 3 separate mountain ranges. No big deal, right? Will also explained that they don't actually run the Savannahlander tours during the summer months, which are officially known as the wet season here in far north Queensland, because it rains so intensely that bridges sometimes get washed out. And sadly, that's what happened this year. It's why our trip had to start by coach instead of the train. Apparently, quite a few people actually cancelled because of this, not wanting to miss out on that section by train. With so many cancellations, there's now a real chance that this could be the last year of the Savannahlander. They're even starting a petition on Facebook to help save it. And honestly, after just a few hours on board, I already knew that this train deserves to be saved. It's one of a kind. Folks, I would like to officially welcome you to Almaden. This teeny tiny little town, basically, Almaden is around because the Savannahlander runs through here twice a week. How cute is that? It's really funny, our train driver Will was like, well, if you haven't heard of Almaden, let me tell you, you can forget your Beijings, you can forget your Dubais. It's all about Almaden, that's where it's at. So we're gonna see what Almaden's all about. This is where we're staying the night. Renee and I are checking into the Chiligo motel this evening, and it looks like a typical cowboy, small town motel. It looks so cool. But right now we're grabbing our bags and getting our bus to our motel. And that's where we met Robert, our bus driver, tour guide, motel owner, and as we would soon learn, also the pub manager. He loaded us into his van and drove us out to our first overnight stop, Chiligo, a blink and you miss it kind of town with a population of just 200 people.
So pretty much everyone on the bus is staying at the cabins, and me and Renee are the only ones going to the motel. Are you excited?
First stop was our accommodation for the night, the Chiligo Motel, which was absolutely dripping with charm. I felt like we'd literally stepped onto the set of a classic Outback film. Slightly faded, slightly creaky, but all in the best possible way.
Motel room. This place is gorgeous. I love it. I love this. Oops, Renee's peeing. Almost caught her on camera.
After dropping our bags, Robert took us out for a little tour of the town. He pointed out the local hospital, which only opens on certain days of the week depending on which service is flying in. Monday, it's the flying doctor. Tuesday, it's the flying dentist, and so on. We also learned that while about 200 people live here, the local school only goes up to grade 6. So once kids reach a certain age, families usually have to move away for education, and it's part of the reason the town keeps getting smaller over time.
We've now got a light. We've just popped a light on and we're going into some caves.
From there, we headed out to explore the Chiligo Caves, a surreal network of ancient limestone caverns hidden just outside of the town. These caves are a part of the Chiligo Mungang National Park and are estimated to have formed about 400 million years ago, when this area was actually underwater. Inside, it's all twisted passageways and towering roofs, dramatic shafts of light. It was here I also saw my very first huntsman spider, which made me jump so hard I almost echoed off the cave walls. You'll be pleased to know I survived. From the caves, we made our way to the local marble yards, where massive blocks of big, huge marble were stacked under the blazing sun, like big, oversized sugar cubes. We learned that each block can sell for around $22,000, and that's just the starting point. Artists and tradespeople cut them into shapes and finishes for sculptures, kitchen bench tops, tiles, you name it, and sell the final product for a lot more. We wrapped up the day with a visit to the old Chiligo smelters, where rusted chimneys and crumbling brickwork are all that remain from the town's mining boom days in the early 1900s, a snapshot of a very different era. After all of that exploring, we headed back to the motel and settled into the pub for dinner. It was a solid first day. Hot, dusty, unexpected, and full of those little moments that make you fall in love with Outback Australia.
All right, we are here at one of the
2 convenience stores here in Chiligo. And wow, there are sunglasses. We've got some clothing, some stationery needs, hairdryer. We've got cleaning supplies. A hat. I feel like I need to get one of these just to fit in around here. Artwork. Hardware supplies, refrigerated items. So Renee and I were looking around for the chocolates for quite a while, and we were kind of thinking it's a bit strange that a convenience store, both of them, don't seem to have chocolates. A pretty standard convenience store item, I would say. And then we wandered past a fridge. Or is it a freezer? No, it's a fridge. And this is what we found. And this, my friends, was $8, so quite pricey. But I guess in a small town like this, you've got to charge what you've got to charge. And I did ask Robert where he does his shopping, and he said he goes to Cairns. 3 hours one way. He leaves at 6 a.m. in the morning and he gets back about 5 p.m. at night, and he does that every fortnight. And I guess he has to be kind of picky with his shopping. He said everything is frozen because out here you just never know if you're going to have a bunch of tourists in one day or it's going to be completely empty for weeks. So everything is frozen because they can't afford to keep fresh stuff. Very interesting.
And we've finished our evening with a lovely little pub meal. I've got here some vegetarian lasagna with chippies and salad, and Renee's gone for the chicken schnitzel.
I'm really excited.
It looks fantastic.
Day 2.
We have a little breakfast omelette with some ratatouille. Renee has gone for the fried egg with some little bacon.
Welcome to day 2. Here we are in Almaden. We spent a lovely evening at the hotel motel last night. Renee, how did you sleep?
Well, I woke up at like 11 to these silly men like laughing and stuff outside. And then I put my big boy pants on and I told them off.
She told them off because they were having too much grog. You might ask, what is grog? Grog, my friends, is alcohol. Up here, that's what they call it. On the grog, they say. I may never fully understand Aussie Outback slang. Grog, I need subtitles just to order lunch out here. But
There is a language I am starting to learn, and that's my husband's, and it's Swedish. I've been learning Swedish with Rosetta Stone. You know Ludwig. He's occasionally in these videos, quite funny and perfectly Swedish. I can finally say quirkiest without sounding like a malfunctioning blender.
Quirkiest.
If you haven't heard of it, Rosetta Stone is the handy all-in-one language learning app that helps you to actually speak a new language rather than just memorize a bunch of vocab. It's based on immersive visual lessons with real-world context. Basically no flashcards, just real language learning that sticks. What I love is that the lessons are super short, some just 5 minutes, and they're really visual, which really works for me. I'm a very visual learner. Rosetta Stone, they get that. And the true accent feature, absolute genius. It compares your speech to tons of native speakers and gives you instant feedback.
En kvinna och hennes bil.
En kvinna och hennes bil.
So, if you've got travel plans, international in-laws, or you just want to sound a little bit cleverer at dinner parties, there's a lifetime membership that gives you access to all 25 languages forever. If you're keen, you can scan this QR code right here on the screen or click the link in the description down below to get over 60% off a lifetime subscription. One payment and you're set for life. So go on, I encourage you to go and learn that language that you've been putting off forever.
Let's jump back on the train. We were spoiled all over again with the views. The mornings up here are seriously something else. Crisp and cool, but with this gentle golden sunshine that just makes everything glow. I couldn't stop staring at the colours. Those soft, dusty greens, rusted reds, pale yellows, all layered together in that uniquely Outback way that just makes you want to press your face against the window and never look away. We crossed bridge after bridge, seriously so many bridges, and once again spotted heaps of wildlife. And let's talk about the cows. Not just any cows, massive ones with these huge humps on their backs. They're actually called Brahman cattle, and they're bred especially for this kind of hot, rugged climate. They're originally from India, and that hump is actually a big muscle storage area that helps them cope with dry conditions. Yes, they feature rather heavily in this video.
One of the more major rivers in North Queensland, but where we cross it, it's fairly shallow, fairly narrow, which is what you want for a rail crossing of a river.
So, we have a designated morning tea stop.
Welcome to Chiligo. Quite literally, our morning tea stop is on the side of the track in the dirt. Looks like we're having some yummy loaf cake of some sort and some bickies and some coffee. Although Ma did warn not to walk too far out into this bush because we are in the Outback and there could be snakes.
Thank you. Beautiful. Oh, cool cups. Yeah. Wow. Oh, these are the ones we keep.
Yeah, those are yours, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Took me ages to
Oh, I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, that's straight out of the gumboot.
Oh, yummy.
You want that taller? Taller.
Yeah, taller.
Fuller. That's the word I was looking for.
Rounder.
Post lavish morning tea stop, something very unexpected happened. We had a near miss with a snake. Yep, a snake. Just chilling on the railway tracks, living its best sunbathing life. But the best part, our driver Will, who, as it turns out, is a very experienced man with reptiles, just casually hopped out, went to check that it was okay and picked it up like it was a bit of lost luggage and brought it over to show us. No gloves, just a stick, and just Will being Will. After the snake excitement, we stopped off for a quick lunch break in a little town called Melt Surprise, which, yes, is just as great of a name as you'd hope. We'd be exploring it properly tomorrow, but for now it's just a simple pit stop. At some point during the trip, maybe around cow number 57, I caught myself just grinning like an idiot. And not because anything dramatic had happened, but because I was completely in it, like fully absorbed in that moment. No need for phone signal, no frantic sightseeing checklist, just dust, sunshine, funny people, and a train full of stories. It felt weirdly calm, like this version of me, the slightly sweaty, cow-watching version, was exactly where I was meant to be.
Now we're making our way from the train to a bus, which is another 2-hour drive to Cobalt Gorge. Renee, are you excited for one last bus trip?
We said goodbye to the Savannahlander for the day in a little town called Einsley. From here, we'd be hopping on a bus for a 2-hour drive to Cobalt Gorge Village Resort, where we'd be spending the night. Our driver David welcomed us on board, and I got the very special privilege of sitting up right at the front with him. The crew knew I was filming a YouTube video, and they kind of left me the front seat, how VIP, so I could capture some cool footage. I feel very special. About halfway into the drive, we passed through this little town called Forsyth, which also happens to be where David lives during this dry season. And you could tell how much he loved this part of the world. He talked about how the colours of the landscape shift every few hours, the way the road winds through the terrain, and how the light bounces off the red dirt. He was properly obsessed in the best way, and it really was infectious. Just as the sun was starting to dip, we rolled into Cobalt Gorge Village, and just in time to jump on a very cool little boat. We hopped straight into the boat for an hour-long trip through the gorge itself, and oh my gosh, this was pure magic. It ended up being Renee's favourite part of the entire Savannahlander journey, and honestly, I get it. I'd never seen anything quite like it. The walls of the gorge were so narrow, towering up beside us like nation's version of a slot canyon, and the water was glossy and calm, perfectly reflecting every rock and tree above. It was like we were gliding through some ancient secret passageway. We learned that the gorge is 10,000 years old. The deepest part of the gorge is about 9 meters, and yes, it's home to freshwater crocodiles. There's one that they actually see almost daily, and that's about 3 meters long. But don't worry, freshwater crocs are the chill ones. They tend to mind their own business and don't really bother people, unlike their salty cousins who are, let's just say, less chill. We also learned that there are snakes, spiders, and heaps of turtles living here. And how do we know that there are turtles, you might ask? Because it turns out these, my friends, are little turtle farts. Apparently, it's actually a part of how they breathe underwater during the cooler months. It blew our minds. Turtles have something called a cloacal respiration, which basically means they can absorb oxygen through their butts. Yep, and apparently they're not the only ones. Some frogs are butt breathers too. Nature is wild.
Ooh, he's showing off. He's posing. Oh! Woo!
We settled back into the village and checked into our cozy cabin for the night. Dinner was all included, just like our morning teas and lunches and breakfasts. Everything, actually. It's all part of the trip, which I absolutely love. I'm a sucker for an all-inclusive experience where everything is sorted and you just don't need to think about a single thing while you're on the journey. Tonight's dinner was delicious. We got to choose either a starter and a main, or a main and a dessert. And it was absolutely scrumptious.
Good morning, it's day 3 and we are in a little town called Einsley. Renee is making the most of the sunshine over here. We left the Cobalt Gorge pretty early this morning, around 8:15, after a beautiful little breakfast out on the patio. So Renee, thanks for joining me on your school holidays on the Savannahlander. Savannahlander, that's how they say it over here. How might you be finding this so far?
They're very crispy.
You ready to hop back on the little train?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm enjoying just like being still right now.
Yeah.
Got a bit of motion sickness.
Okay, in this hotel, I've just located the cutest mini stuff you've ever seen in your life, friends. Just take a look at all of these little pot plants. Oh my goodness. That little table and chair going on there. Oh my gosh, there's little books and cards. Wrapping paper. Oh my gosh.
Here we are at Cobalt Gorge. It is so incredibly peaceful out here. It's beautiful, and what's amazing as well is that we have a really, really good view of the railway bridge that
in fact, is one of the ones that's broken or washed out because of all the crazy flooding that they've had during the wet season. One of the reasons we've had to take a bus ride between a couple of these cities. But this gorge is gorgeous. Well, we said goodbye to Einsley, and I found out that Einsley might just be about the smallest town we will visit on this trip, because there's a total of about 20 people living there. Absolutely wild. Here's where we were just standing before, over in that gorge. That's the railway bridge. Wow. I spent my last few moments in Einsley asking for a glass of water. I was feeling a little bit thirsty. And the owner behind the bar said, "Yeah, you can, but you'll be your guts out." So that was really pleasant. I think he was saying he's only got bottled water left. But I also didn't want to take the option of my guts out. So I'll just get some water another time. The owner of that pub, turns out his dad is the one who made all of those little miniatures, and he actually won second place in Canada for his miniature work. That is so impressive. So cool. Like, I would not expect to see a miniature heaven in a random pub in a random town that has 20 people living there. Like, this is just so cool. You just don't see this kind of stuff on any other trip.
Back on the train, we started making our way slowly toward Mount Surprise. Remember that little place we stopped for lunch yesterday? Well, tonight we'd be staying there. Today we had a very near miss with a cow who decided to sprint across the tracks at the very last second. I will never stop filming cows. Never. Ludwig gets mildly horrified at the amount of cow footage I have stored on our hard drives. And the kangaroos, my friends, I saw so many kangaroos, I counted about 87 of them.
Alright, so what's happening now is a bunch of us are getting the opportunity to hop off the train, to stand here and watch the train go back over the bridge so we can get a photo and a video. What a cool idea! I'm so excited. These are the shots I live for. Alright. The important question is, does this train have a bathroom? I'm here to tell you the good news. It does. So, as you can see, no exaggeration, it's pretty wobbly in here. One of the wobblier train bathrooms I've had the pleasure of experiencing. There are 2 total bathrooms on this train. This is the large one at the back, so a lot of room. And there is a much smaller one over toward the centre. And yeah, got everything you need. We've got paper towels, we've got soap, sink. Yeah, got a couple of handles lingering around, a couple of hooks, but it is very wobbly, like I mentioned. Also, there is a place where you can get water. They've got a water cooler, they've got cups, a place where you can refill the bottle, so that's really nice as well. There's nothing I hate more than being stuck on a moving vehicle without a bathroom.
We rolled into Mount Surprise by late afternoon. Tonight we were staying at Discovery Parks, the cutest little cabin. This town is so tiny. Around 140 people live here, and it has some proper character.
We're back in Mount Surprise. It is a very cute little town. We've barely got any time here. Just enough time to check into our cute little cabin, and we're back on a tour to the Andorra lava tubes. It's an absolute wonder of the world. I'm gonna go. Renee, however, she's feeling a bit hot, she's feeling a bit flustered, a little bit motion sick, but not too bad. So she's going to spend the afternoon here in Mount Surprise.
Meanwhile, I got on a bus for 45 minutes, and this place absolutely blew my mind. First of all, did you know there are 164 volcanoes in this area, and 164 kilometers of lava tubes? Like, what the heck?
Now, when I was researching, I think they said there was a pool. There's a basketball hoop there. There's a bunch of kids at our place. See if they want to hang out. Oh, there's also mini park golf. What the heck?
These tubes were formed over 190,000 years ago when lava flowed down from the Undara volcano, and as the top of the lava cooled and hardened, the molten lava underneath kept flowing, eventually draining out and leaving behind these massive hollow tunnels. Some of them are huge.
Oh, I just had my first sip of my coffee and it's damn good. It's probably just as good as New Zealand. New Zealand! Went for a little walk to the post office roadhouse and I got some hot chips.
One section we went into was over 20 meters wide and tall, and it honestly felt like I was walking into a secret lava cathedral. They're home to all sorts of life, including snakes, beetles. My absolute highlight was spotting one teeny tiny little lonely microbat just hanging out all on his own in this little crack in the rock.
Good morning, train enthusiasts. It's day 4, and we are well and truly still in the Outback. But we have heard rumours of a sensational coffee shop located just across the road from this cute little retreat.
I came into this hoping for a fun train ride. What I got was a little lesson on how to slow down and really see things. The towns, the wildlife, the stories hiding in the rusted signs and the dusty roadside cafes. It reminded me that some of the best adventures don't need to be big or dramatic. They just need good people, open windows, and maybe a few wild pigs for spice. I think somewhere along the way, I stopped thinking of this trip as content and just started living it. Like, yeah, I'm here with cameras and cables and batteries that never last long enough, but I wasn't chasing a perfect shot anymore. I was just chasing joy. Weird, beautiful, quiet little moments that made me feel more connected to this place than I ever expected. That's when I knew this trip was going to stay with me. Day 4, and we were back on the Savannahlander for a longer stretch as we slowly made our way toward Mariba and eventually Cairns. But we had plenty of little stops, chats, and unexpected animal cameos on the way. One of my absolute favourites? A group of pigs, actual feral pigs, turns out jumping across the track in front of us. Like one by one, perfectly spaced like they'd rehearsed it. It might honestly be one of the funniest, most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Can we just take a moment to appreciate it? Little pig jump, little pig jump, like a parade, but unhinged. We also learned that north of Townsville, there are around 200 to 300 wild pigs per person. Yes, you heard that right. And a group of pigs is called a sounder, which sounds very dignified for something that snorts and bolts across train tracks for fun.
Here we are at Saltwater Creek. Not because it's salt water, but apparently there's a high level of calcium in the water. So we're doing another photo op here, and Ma is driving. He's going to take the crane back to get some photo ops, and then we're going to get a video of it going back over the bridge. Very, very cool. I love that they do that.
Yeah, it's super cool.
How was that going across the bridge, just slowly back and forth, posing for the camera? Renee looked like she was absolutely loving life right then.
It's time for professional interview time. Today we are speaking with Will. Can I call you Willis?
You can if you want to. You can call me whatever.
What is your absolute favourite thing about driving the Savannahlander?
Would have to be, and I don't want to sound too cliche, but I think it has to be the people. I really like people. I like meeting people. This is my 14th year doing the job, and I think over that time I've worked out I've met about 55,000 people that have come and sat in the chair that you're sitting in. And they've asked me questions, and I've asked them questions, and we've had lots of chats. The passengers on this train have done amazing things with their lives, and I've learned a lot more from them, I feel, than they've ever learned from me. And with some of the passengers, they go on to become friends, and we catch up with each other when we get opportunities, and I think that part of the job's been really, really rewarding.
And then it was time. Time for something we had all been waiting for. Will's famous Termite Talk. This had been hyped up all trip, and honestly, it delivered. I will never look at a termite the same again. So many wild facts. Like the termite queen, the ruler of the pack, can live up to 50 years. And even more crazy, friends, she gives birth once every 3 seconds. I repeat, every 3 seconds, boop, there comes a baby. Imagine that. We'd made our final scenic stop in Dambulla, where the volunteers from the Dambulla Railway Station Museum put on an afternoon tea for us. It was just $5 per person, and what a beautiful spread. Scones with jam and cream, mini egg sandwiches, fruits, muffins, brownies. It was exactly what we needed after a long day of bouncing along the rails. Simple, lovely, and so appreciated. And that brings us to the end of our Savannahlander adventure. The total for our 4-day Savannahlander experience came to $3,420 Australian for the two of us. That included all accommodation, meals, off-train experiences, transfer, the whole shebang. Honestly, for the amount of wild animals, lava tubes, and termite-related facts, it felt pretty darn worth it.
Did you enjoy this?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it was very, very unique.
Yes,
And would you recommend these guys to also book this themselves?
definitely.
Yeah. Let's keep the Savannahlander going, guys. Come book this for 2026. Come here, come and say hi to Will and Ma, and yeah, do this journey. You will not regret it. Okay, bye, Savannahlander. Oh yeah, get it? Yeah. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming along.
Thanks. It's been awesome.
What are you doing?
Absolutely. Thanks, Ma. You've been awesome. Oh yeah, get it.
A trip full of tiny bats, termites, pigs with surprisingly good timing. But honestly, what made this trip so special wasn't just the scenery or the snacks or the termite birth rates. It was the people. Every single person we met, from the train crew to the folks running the tiny town cafes and motels, were just so friendly. Like, wildly friendly. The kind of humble, low-key, hilarious, warm people that make you feel like you've just wandered into a family reunion you didn't know you were invited to but are now weirdly a part of. I get it now. I really do. There's something so special about life out here, and I've never felt so welcome anywhere in my life. If you enjoyed coming along for the ride, feel free to, like that video or leave me a comment below or send me a friendly pig fact. Whatever works for you. And if you want to subscribe, well, I would love that too. I make these videos with love and a deeply concerning amount of train enthusiasm, so thank you for being here. Also, if you love cute little trains, oh my goodness, I've got the perfect video lined up for you next. It's the Inlandsbanan train through Sweden, the one I mentioned before, and it is equally as adorable, maybe even like 15% cuter, just a little bit. Honestly, you're gonna love it. Watch it just right here. Okay, bye.